Team BDS has just pulled off one of the most dominant playoff runs that we've seen across this entire RLCS season. And in today's video, we'll be discussing what allowed them to do just that. Now, for our purposes here today, we're going to be taking a look at Game 4 of BDS's series against Oxygen in the Grand Finals, and we're going to be taking a look at everything through the eyes here of Monkey Moon. Now, the reason I wanted to take a look at this game specifically is because it came right after Oxygen got their first win of the series. So now this is a critical moment where we will kind of see how the rest of the series is going to shape up depending on how well BDS responds to this first loss. So what we're going to really want to look at with these goals is the understanding that BDS has of when their opponents find themselves in awkward spots defensively, and how BDS then makes use of very strong, powerful touches to each other that get the ball moving very quickly around the field, that make use of the awkward situation the defense is in to make it even harder for that defense to be able to make a save. So we're on board here with Monkey Moon, and we're going to go ahead and just see how these things play out. So Exotic going ahead and pushing the ball into Oxygen's half. Now right here, Monkey Moon could have the opportunity to just let this ball bounce and control it and like try to make a play with it, but he does recognize right here, okay, we're only on 34 boost, my two teammates are in front of me, kind of awkward, so I don't want to risk the chance that I get hard dunked and this goes back into my half, and now we're the team retreating very awkwardly. So instead, let me see if I can try to put this ball in a spot that makes the defense just a little bit more awkward and buys us a bit of time to get set up back on the defensive end. So that's exactly what Monkey Moon's gonna do here. He's gonna jump up, he's gonna use his boost, he's gonna boom this ball up towards the corner, which is gonna force Archie to go up and play this ball. So now Archie takes the catch, which honestly, when you play against Oxygen, that's kind of something you can assume, is that all of these players are going to want to control the ball whenever they have the opportunity. So you can actually kind of use that to your advantage, because this now just buys BDS time to get back, because Archie does not find himself in an overly threatening spot up here in the corner. Not a whole lot that he can do to immediately threaten the net. So Monkey Moon's done a great job of putting the ball in a fairly safe spot to allow them to rotate back. So now BDS gonna go ahead and make their way back downfield, as again, Archie does air dribbling here, not even on target though, just heading towards the back wall. So BDS doesn't much care. And now Monkey Moon is going to make sure that he cuts down this space by defending this backboard with this bounce, just so that Archie doesn't have a free double tap. So we're going to take away that space, which, you know, is all well and good. And now here's where BDS is immediately going to identify the awkwardness of the Oxygen players. So there's two Oxygen players here in the corner with Oski and Archie, and we can see Joyo is full speed ahead in to challenge this ball. So we're about to have a situation where all three Oxygen players find themselves pretty much in one spot here in the BDS corner. So what that says to the BDS players is, hey, if we can find an opportunity to counterattack here, the defense for Oxygen is going to be extremely weak. And that's exactly what we see. So Joyo just goes ahead and punts this ball forward. And now Joyo is one of the players that you would expect to control the ball pretty much in any chance that he gets, but he doesn't really have the opportunity here just because of how much traffic exists right here on this part of the field. Attempting to take control in this kind of situation is very awkward just because you have so many cars moving around you. So rather than control, Joyo just feels it's better to just boom the ball to the corner. But hey, Drawley is right here to go ahead and take over that ball. And now this is where BDS is going to start to look to add pace. They want to get this ball moving around the field as quickly as possible to make life as difficult as they can for their opponent. So Drawley's just going to go ahead and get a clear here out. Going to go ahead and float after it just to make sure Archie doesn't have a completely free touch. Meanwhile, our third player has gotten demoed in the midfield in Exotic. So Monkey Moon going to go ahead and move on back here. And now we do get a bit fortunate with Exotic spawning right here in the corner, because otherwise Monkey Moon is in a very difficult spot. But in reality, even if Exotic's not here, this isn't overly dangerous because he would be spawning in the other corner. And Monkey Moon is preventing any kind of immediate attack on the net with where he is, as long as he can get around Joyo. So we should be pretty covered regardless of where Exotic spawns. But we're gonna again make use of this spawn though to continue our idea. So Exotic spawns, and immediately we understand that there are 2 Oxygen players right here in the corner, and we have our 3rd player up the field here. So if we can get this ball moving quickly up the field, we've now removed 2 players from the equation. There's only 1 defender back, and we have 3 players pretty much available to attack downfield. So Exotic's going to go ahead and get the clear out, and you can see even that Oski has pushed forward as well, expecting there to be a challenge win because they didn't exactly anticipate Exotic spawning where he did. But now because Exotic has gotten this spawn and has gotten this clear, now we have the exact position we want our opponents in. Very awkward player on defense. Ball moving downfield with a lot of pace, and it's going directly towards another one of our teammates who can continue the play on. So now Oski finds himself in the very unenviable position of having to read what BDS is doing as he's trying to rotate back to defend the nets. And because of the pace the ball is moving at, Oski simply cannot react in time to this play coming through from Drawley and Exotic, and it's just a free touch over the top from Exotic, beating out Oski with pace to secure this first goal. So that was all about identifying where the defense was found in an awkward position and immediately exploiting it with quick touches to each other to make sure that the defense can't take time to understand where the play is going, and by doing so they force the defense to react to what's happening rather than allowing them to be proactive, therefore giving BDS a massive advantage in the play, as we saw right there. So moving on to goal number 2, we're going to see a very similar idea where BDS's main focus is to speed up Oxygen's pace of play. They want to make Oxygen as uncomfortable as possible, therefore giving the advantage to Team BDS. So right here we're going to see Monkey Moon immediately challenging this ball in the midfield, bounces up kind of awkwardly, but again, we're not going to give any kind of space here to our opponents to be able to control the ball. We want to speed up their pace of play, so Monkey Moon's going to get right up into the air to get into the face of Joyo to not allow this to become anything dangerous, just right up, gets the challenge, ball pops up, Exotic gonna follow through with the exact same idea, not allowing Archie any control on the ball, immediate 50 there, Monkey Moon's gonna continue the idea right away after he collects the mid boost, jumping up, and now he forces Oski into this very awkward backwards touch that now leaves the ball just kind of floating into their back corner, and now BDS can chase this ball down and continue to make Oxygen quite awkward. So Drawley gonna go ahead, force out another challenge. Now Oski finally does have a free touch and Monkey Moon does get demoed. But again, this isn't overly threatening because it's a full field air dribble and we're gonna have all 3 defenders back. So very easy, especially for pro players, to be able to defend this. And as you can see, Exotic just waits patiently. And now is exactly where we're gonna see the big mentality of BDS again, where this whole thing is now perfectly primed for a counterattack, as we got 1 player out of the play and 2 players just kind of lingering around in the midfield area. So if we can take advantage of this somewhat loose touch from Oski and make a counterattack, we now have a very vulnerable defense who are not exactly prepared to defend something that comes at them with such high speed. And that's going to be the key. If they took things slow, Oxygen would no doubt be able to actually read what was happening and would be able to be proactive in the situation rather than reacting to it. But BDS doesn't want that. BDS wants to force Oxygen to react to what they're doing on the field. So instead, they're going to move this ball around with as much pace as possible. So Exotic's going to go ahead and get this touch up to the backboard. Monkey Moon immediately understands that this is where the ball is going. You can actually see both him and Drawley kind of having a similar idea. Monkey Moon gonna go ahead and take this ball. And now the important thing is that while the defense of Oxygen is looking here, you can see that Drawley is already understanding what's happening, and he's already going to start to creep out towards the midfield, which is going to give Monkey Moon the ability to hit this pass forward, and because Oxygen isn't looking here, they're not going to see this pass coming until it's far too late to cut it off, and therefore, again, gonna put Oxygen into a very reactive situation. So Monkey Moon gonna jump up, and again, the important thing here, we need to get this ball moving quickly. So he's gonna go ahead and bang this ball out, and now you can look again at this Oxygen defense. No one really in a great spot to defend the net. They are forced to just kind of watch Drawley and see what happens. And because of the pace of this ball, any jump that they're going to go for is going to be really difficult to cut off. As we're going to see right here, as Drawley just bangs this ball directly to the backboard, Archie jumps early. He sees what's coming, and because of how quick the ball is moving, it's such a difficult read that he's not able to get it. And now Joyo is in a very vulnerable spot, and Drawley does a fantastic job of placing this right to the bottom corner. But again, that's all about the pace of that counterattack. The second that BDS recognized that they had their opponent in a vulnerable spot, they didn't waste time, they didn't try to take control, they just absolutely slammed the ball around the field as quickly as humanly possible, and they were immediately able to catch their opponents out, simply because of how quickly the counterattack came at them. The last goal that I want to talk about today is a great example of how the way BDS is playing opens up other opportunities when they inevitably switch things up. So up to this point, they've mainly been scoring from hitting the ball around the field to each other very quickly. So they've now kind of lulled Oxygen into the idea that that's how BDS is going to attempt to attack, and after almost an entire game of that being the case, when BDS switch it up, it's going to cause Oxygen to be all kinds of awkward, especially when Oxygen is trying desperately to get a hold of the ball to be able to get this game a little bit closer. So off the kickoff, Monkey Moon gonna recognize that there's only one player back and he has a bit of space, so rather than continuing to just bang the ball away, he's gonna go ahead and take one control touch, which immediately you can see Archie already trying to jump here. So this control touch is immediately gonna take Archie out of the play and leave Oski as the last one back. So nice control touch off the wall. Now Oski is expecting this ball to inevitably get slammed directly on target, but especially with the situation we're in, Monkey Moon not necessarily interested in just banging a ball towards the net, because he knows that that's inevitably what these guys are expecting. So if we switch it up and just try to play for possession instead, now this guy's just going to go flying past us and we're not going to have to worry about him. Which is, again, exactly what we see here, as Monkey Moon doesn't go for net, just hits the ball around. And now here's where we're going to see the big play for Monkey Moon. So this ball is going to go ahead and bounce a little awkwardly. He's just going to go ahead and take control of this, though, up the wall. And now here's the important thing. Just look at the defense of Oxygen, just all gravitating over towards this corner. And what that's going to cause is a very awkward defensive situation where now one little play of control has drawn all three Oxygen players and has left them very vulnerable once again on the defensive end. So Monkey Moon is going to go ahead and take his time up here. Again, he's not really worried about trying to score this. He just wants to keep Oxygen guessing as to what's happening, keep them off balance so that they can't get an easy clear and get this ball back down the field. So he's just going to float behind this, you know, he's chilling, take a 50, that's all well and good. And now again, he can just get right back on this, pop it out to a teammate, and now we have Oxygen absolutely panicking at this ball. Obviously with 5 seconds left, unlikely that Oxygen is going to be able to get 2 goals, but the way we have Oxygen's defense absolutely panicking just from a little bit of control really shows the result of playing with such pace for the majority of the game, just to switch it up as we're trying to kill the clock. And by going for that switch up, not only has BDS completely killed the clock, but they've also given themselves a 4th goal to add to the tally, and they really have simply outplayed Oxygen on a strategic level in this game, really keeping Oxygen's defense off balance, which means Oxygen's defense wasn't really able to be proactive with what was happening. Instead, they had to react to what BDS was doing, and that constantly kept Oxygen on the back foot. So very nice win there from BDS to go ahead and cut off the momentum Oxygen had after their first win, and of course BDS would go on to win the series in Game 5, completing a playoff bracket where they went 4-1 in every series they played. So props to BDS on this great playoff run. It will certainly be interesting to see if they can continue this momentum into the final qualifier. Of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, if you'd like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, feel free to join my Discord, which I'll have linked down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.